Welcome to Woo New, a show that explores healing and the expansion of our consciousness.
Where we explore all kinds of different energy modalities, therapies, and ideas that bring us closer to our collective liberation.
I'm Ellen, and I'm a journey work guide.
I'm Sam, and I am an integrative energy therapist.
And together, we are the co-creators of We Are All Daughters,
a quantum healing space dedicated to helping us reconnect to ourselves, our bodies, each other, and the universe.
So I just have to start off by saying that as we went through this meditation, I'm feeling so much energy around me right now, more so than any other interview that we have had. I don't know if you guys are feeling the same thing. I feel like there's a lot of we have a lot of guides around us right now, very, very present with us. And I don't typically feel quite this intensity somatically. And Sam knows this about me, but I'm like, holy crap, my back is totally lighting up like crazy.
It's so funny that you said that, because right when you were like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this so much, I was like this energy was coming in, and it was like sort of just flickering behind me on the back left side, and just like flickering and glowing and getting bigger and bigger. And I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Maxine, I think this is because of you.
I'm feeling something similar, that the three of us together, almost like my body actually started to shake.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like something new wanted to move through.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's really intense. So we typically don't start this way, but I just had to say that because I'm like, it's really blowing my mind. So I'm just so grateful today to introduce Maxine Dillon. She is a friend that I met through a mutual friend, and we had a chance to connect recently over a conversation that I was just really holding in my heart and thinking about for weeks afterwards. And the divine timing of this conversation, I think we were introduced to each other maybe a year ago, maybe a little longer than a year even. And I think the stars kind of aligned divinely for us to have this conversation just recently, where we finally found time to hop on the phone together. And just hearing Maxine's story and what she does is truly mind-blowing for me, and just resonated so deeply with me because of where I'm at in my journey as a medicine and journey work coach and guide. So Maxine is a transpersonal energy healing practitioner, and we're going to get into what that really means. But she has this beautiful healing practice called Blue Star Guidance, which acts as a refuge for creative professionals. And she helps artists and creatives transition out of high-stress work environments, something that is so close to Sam and I's hearts, and to get clear on their personal visions so that they can feel confident in making art that is aligned with their own creative integrity. So it goes without saying that we are just so blessed and so grateful to have you here in this circle, Maxine. So welcome, and just thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Ellen and Sam, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to share my work. And I've been really looking forward to continuing the conversation that we had on the phone and really dig in.
Yeah, same. And I have since gone to Sam and told her oh my God, you have to meet this person, Maxine. She's freaking amazing. And the things that we talked about, you're going to resonate so much with. And so, yeah, I'm glad that this day finally arrived.
I know. I was looking at your site, and the first thing that I read was calling all creative professionals who felt unfulfilled by their work. And I was like, oh, this is a realm we are very familiar with.
Yeah, it's definitely not a coincidence that we're here talking about this. Can you take us back to how you even got called into this work, and why you feel the call to serve this type of person, these creative professionals?
Yes. Yeah, so I moved to Los Angeles from the East Coast in 2000, and I went to school for fashion, and I worked as a designer for 16 years. And through that time, I was in my early 20s. I was really trying to find myself, my voice. I was totally married to my career. I loved fashion. Um, but a lot of the environments I was in were highly stressful. And most creative industries are. You become married to it in a way. It becomes such a huge part
Totally.
of your life. And so throughout that time, I was dealing with a lot of chronic conditions. Uh, let's see, like chronic anxiety, and I would get hives.
Mm.
I had a lot of food allergies and some chronic pain. So I went to, your basic Western medicine doctor, and they really didn't have answers for me. And so I started to explore alternative practitioners. I went to a chiropractor, I did acupuncture, and this put me on a journey of like healing my body, my physical body.
Mm.
I remember my chiropractor telling me, you should stop eating gluten. I tried that, and so many things changed in my body when I did that. I felt so much better. The hives went away. I was also getting like chronic strep throat. I would get sick all the time. And once I quit eating gluten, my strep throat went away.
Wow.
Whoa.
And it was such a huge change. And so once I started to feel better physically, what started to happen was my emotional body started to speak to me. And I got to connect with why I was so anxious. And so I remember this one time in a acupuncture session, I had a really big emotional release.
Mm.
And she said, I actually thought that there was something wrong with me. I didn't understand why I would be so emotional about this. Now, this was back in like, let's say, I think 2009.
Mm.
Um, and the acupuncturist said, there's nothing wrong with you. It's totally normal to have big emotions. And have you ever tried energy healing? And I said, you believe in that?
Oh my God, that resonates so much.
And she said, yeah, I do. You should try it. So she introduced me to a healer here in Los Angeles. Her name is Victoria Sansbury Carter, and she has a practice called Sacred Oak Healing. And I had one session with her, and she does the same kind of work that I do, which is counseling. It's transpersonal spiritual counseling, and then hands-on work. So the sessions are usually about an hour of counseling, and then I'd lay on the table and she'd do hands-on healing.
Mm.
And I had such a profound table work experience that I started going once a week, and I worked with her once a week for 4 years.
Wow.
And during that time, so right as I met her, I got my like the last job I had in fashion. I got that job at the same time I met her. So that was in 2011. So after working a year with her, so it was in 2012, I started to, like a lot of these gifts started to unlock and emerge as I was working with her. And a big part of my healing journey was learning how to
Mm.
ground my energy. I didn't realize how disassociated I was from my body,
Mm.
and that experiencing constant stress is really traumatic to your
Yeah.
system. And my work life was that way. It was constant stress. A deadline driven industry is going to keep
Mm.
you in a cycle of survival.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me I want to say like a year and a half to really have the experience of being grounded and then understand what it was. And once my energy was in my body, I started to have I'm trying to think of like some of the first things that happened. I remember for 3 nights in a row, every night as I fell asleep, I my energy would pop out of my body. And it really scared me. I didn't know what was happening, and it was involuntary. I had no control over it. So I remember the third night, I woke my husband up and I said, "Hey, I keep having this feeling like I'm leaving my body. Like, I don't know what's going on." And he was half asleep. He's like, "Don't worry, that's astral projection."
I'm impressed that he knew what that was.
I
Yeah.
know.
And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "I have got some books about it. Let's read about it this week." And I became so fascinated with that, like out of body experiences and astral projection. And I tried to get to a point where I could actually be intentional and have some amount of control over that happening, which didn't really happen. But that was kind of like the first esoteric experience that I had. And then I started to see flashes of light, blue flashes, gold flashes. And I got so curious, well, what is this? I started to go to see other psychics and intuitives and read about this. And I realized what was happening was these are spirits and guides that are trying to connect with me, and also fairies.
Wow. Oh, wow. I love that. I love that that came through, like kind of so early in your journey too. Like it took me a
Yeah.
really long time to get to that point for me, but oh, I love that so much.
Yeah, it was truly this like opening up of other dimensions, and I had no idea what was happening. And so it it shifted my entire perspective on life. And I realized, wow, there's so much that I don't know, and there's so much here to explore. And it made life so much fun because it was this adventure that I got to follow and learn about. And really the journey of trusting yourself and
Mm-hmm.
your body and what you're feeling and what you're seeing and what you're knowing, and your intuition, how your intuition is speaking through you, and how that really is divine energy communicating with you, sending you messages. And so throughout the 4 years of working with Victoria, she would always encourage me to do the healer's training that she did. You know, she's like, "You're so sensitive, you're so intuitive. I think this would be really fun for you." And I was just like, "No, I'm a designer. Like, I want to focus on fashion." And I think it was the fourth year, I finally had enough of these kinds of experiences that I really wanted to explore healing work. And I went in more as like, I wanted to do this for my personal well-being.
Mm-hmm.
But I had such a profound experience during my training that I quit my job and I started a healing practice
Wow.
in 2015. I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. It's so funny. Yeah, Ellen, you're totally right. Like I feel so many parallels to your experience, and like so much of that resonates with me because I remember even when I first even heard of Reiki practitioners, I was like, I would roll my eyes. I was like, everybody's so full of shit. Like, the world is losing its mind. And then it truly was. It was like when I started studying energy healing, was the exact same thing. I just wanted to do it for myself. And then, things evolved and evolved. And then, like, before you know it, here we are. I'm curious too how when you first started seeing spirit guides and sort of other energies around you, how you connected in with the fairies specifically.
How I connected with fairies?
Yeah, like how was it that you were able to identify specifically, like, oh, I'm connecting with spirit guides and
Yeah.
fairies?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I got some confirmation. So one of the first things was I remember leaving work, walking to my car, and I looked down, and underneath my car is a floor mat for a car with Tinkerbell on it. And I was like, what the hell? What is... And so it was just like lots of little things like that. And I went to go see this woman. I actually can't remember her name now. I remember she built a biomat bed where
Oh, wow.
she embedded crystals into the bed,
Mm-hmm.
and you would lay on it, and it actually felt like little workers, like these little spirits that would go into your energy field and recalibrate your energy. It was really, really
Wow.
incredible. And she
Whoa,
would
that's so
give
cool.
readings after you would lay on the mat. And um, I had asked her about the blue flashes and the gold flashes. I said, "Do you have any idea what this is?" And at first she said, "Oh, they're spirits that want to connect with you." And then she paused and she said, "Oh, some of them want you to know that they're fairies." And
That's
she's
so
like, does
interesting.
this make sense to you? I was like, okay, yeah, this is coming up a lot. And then I had uh, an experience with Victoria where she had said to me, we could do guide work together during our sessions, and I didn't really know what that meant. I went in thinking that she was going to connect with my spirit guides and maybe share messages with me that she would hear, but that's
Mm.
not what happened at all. She had guided me through a meditation, and there was a part where she said, "Okay, now look out into the horizon. Who do you see?" And I actually had my eyes open, and I said, I don't see anything on the horizon, but there is someone at the door." And I was looking at the door in her healing room. It started to glow golden.
Whoa.
The golden light was coming through the door, and this being started to emerge from her door. And it had no gender, it really just looked like a light being.
Mm.
And so I told her what I was seeing, and she said, "Why don't you ask a question?" And I don't even know where I came up with this question, but I actually communicated with it telepathically. I didn't say it out loud, but I had asked, "If I have a question and the answer is yes, what color will I see?" And it told me blue. And then I had an inner knowing in that moment that the blue flashes I was seeing was this being.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And so when I started my healing practice and I worked with clients one on one, I started to see the blue flashes in this way where it was like, the client is sharing with me, unpacking, and I have a feeling or a sense of something. And so I'll see a blue flash. The guide will let me know, yes, that's correct. You're on the right track.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Wow.
so that's how I was able to differentiate some of it. Like, okay, the blue flashes are is a guide that I'm working with, and some of the white flashes are fairies. And when I connect with the fairies, it has a very different frequency, it feels different in my body than when I work with the guide. So it really is, it's an unfolding. It takes time and confirmation and really feeling it out and asking questions and having support.
I'm so curious. Are you like a do you spend a lot of time in the garden? Are you like an outdoorsy kind of like loves to work with plants?
I have become more, as I started my practice, nature became a non-negotiable need. I really take a tree bath every day, and um, I'm really lucky because my husband is actually has an amazing green thumb, and he grew this awesome garden in our backyard.
Wow.
And but honestly, I don't really work with plants, and I don't have a connection to the land that I feel like I should, but I don't. And I think a lot of it is um, that's actually such a big part of my journey is first getting into my body and learning, creating healthy patterns where my energy stays in my body and connecting more to the earth. So I try as much as I can, but I'm just so much more inclined to go up and out, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
You
Yes,
and
I am that
Sam,
way as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that feeling a lot.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder. I mean, I think we touched upon this when we talked, Maxine, but it does make me wonder if you are a newbie here on Earth. Like, like this is like one of your, like you tend to be in other places or have incarnated in other places other than Earth, which I also kind of wondered for Sam too, like if there's like many more lifetimes elsewhere versus like here on this planet.
Yeah, I wonder. I have heard that from people giving me readings, but I've also done past life regressions where I've gone into other lifetimes here on Earth. And
Yeah, I'm kind
yeah,
of the same way. Like, I know I've had multiple lifetimes here on Earth, especially given the past lives that I am aware of. But it also makes me feel like maybe there have just been so many that I don't know about.
mm,
Because it's almost like the ones that come up are the ones that where you sort of carry something with you that needs to be healed. And so those maybe are like a fewer select number.
is there anything in this lifetime that you experienced that you feel would create this kind of pattern of wanting to go up into other realms?
I mean, aside from my dark night of the soul experience,
Mm,
I just always have been really naturally inclined to that.
yeah.
And like you, I like my work has really been like reconnecting with my body and learning how to be grounded and to stay grounded. Because during that experience, I definitely was like just so detached from my body that I felt like it was so foreign to me. And I was um, existing outside of it, I think, as a response to just ongoing stress and trauma in very much the similar way that I think many people experience after a certain amount of time of just like living in that cycle of stress and survival.
Yeah. Yeah, something that I I learned about myself when I was doing my healer's training is um, it's this pattern is incarnational trauma.
Mm.
Oh, what is
So
that?
so it's trauma that's experienced either in utero or at the time of birth or within the first few months of life. And for me, I had open heart surgery when I was an infant,
Oh my God.
Oh, wow. Okay.
and I was 2 weeks old, and And so I think I mean, I don't remember any of it, but my mom had told me that I had died and they brought me back.
Oh, wow.
And I just thought of that as like, oh, just as I'm coming in, I'm going out.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's profound.
Yeah. That would never have even crossed my mind. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, can oh wow. Okay, now I understand why it's like your spirit's like, I don't know if this is it. It's like I'm so
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like I don't know if I'm supposed to be here. Oh wow.
yeah,
I mean, I can imagine that this is what makes you so profoundly gifted as an
Hmm.
energy healer,
yeah. It's the gift in the wound.
right?
So from our wounds really grow our greatest gifts. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the gifts of leaving your body, from because of trauma, is that you become very open and your energy is up in the other realms and you're receiving incredible information and you have big imagination. A lot of artists are this way.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. So that is that why you are so connected to supporting like these like the creative professionals and the artists and
Yeah, one of the reasons that the main reason is my experience in the fashion industry.
mm-hmm.
And I just have a lot of empathy for highly sensitive, creative people who are trying to find their way, trying to fit into an industry that is not supportive
Yeah.
Right.
to that type of person.
Mm-hmm.
And and I feel that creating safety is really is such an important part of the healing process, that you need a safe container to feel your own body, feel yourself, feel your energy, what that feels like. Because if you're in a pattern also of leaving,
Mm-hmm.
and well, let's say even if you grew up in a household that's maybe unsafe with a caretaker that is unpredictable,
Mm-hmm.
what happens too is you send your energy over to the other person.
Mm.
You connect to their energy field and you sense into how they're feeling so you can then respond. It's a way to feel safer. It's like, okay, now I know what to do now because I know how they feel. And we get really disconnected from our core needs that way.
Mm.
We're always
This resonates
attuning
so
to other
much.
people's needs.
Yeah. It's almost like a defense mechanism.
Totally.
Hmm. It
Oh
is
my
a defense.
gosh. Yeah. And this is, I mean, I'm now kind of like threading the needle or like connecting the dots. Like why narcissistic people thrive on empathic people and
Right.
it's like peanut butter and jelly. It's like they kind of fuse together in a sense,
Yeah.
they're so magnetized to one another. I didn't ever understand that that's what was happening on the side of the like the highly sensitive and empathic, like you're actually sending your energy over to the other. And for people like that, I feel like they're kind of like vam- vampires in a sense. They're just like wanting to suck that energy from you. Whoa.
Yeah, it's all unconscious.
Yeah.
And yeah, narcissistic personality and empathic beings are a perfect match in that, narcissism is a really deep wound
Mm-hmm.
and it comes from profound emotional neglect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the the defense is to create a grandiose persona.
Mm-hmm.
And inside there's really intense fear and a void this really deep emotional void. And so when you find a person who is empathetic and can tune into your needs, right? Because a narcissist, their emotional needs were not met as a child. And then now you have a person who is nothing but empathetic, has such huge empathy that it's unconsciously there's going to be a sucking
Yeah.
of energy that happens. And I see it a lot. Well, because I'm really working in the realms of career and career transformation. One of the main dynamics I see are, highly sensitive, empathic, creative people who work with, I don't like to say narcissist because I feel like it is a diagnosable condition, and not, maybe there's a spectrum of it, but a person that will take, let's say. So an overgiver and a taker.
Yeah. It's so rampant in the creative industries, like that dynamic. I feel like you see that story over and over and over again. I I'm like, my head is exploding with questions. And so I'm like, where do I go from here? Um, um, when you're working with, like, and I love that you really focus in on also the career aspect of it. When you're working with these artists and creatives, what are some of the trends that you're seeing aside from this, like, giving and taking kind of dynamic?
Yeah. So if you think about the way that our society conditions us, we you got to go to school, learn a trade, find a job, and we're constantly trying to fit ourselves into boxes where everyone else around us is telling us, this is the way you should do it, this is how it's done. And for an artist, we really need connection to our own personal vision and our creativity, our creative process. And so a big part of my work is getting my clients back in touch with their own creative process. And we do that by understanding expansion and contraction. So to answer your question, a trend that I see is I'm going to look outward and see, like, who, let's say a fashion designer, who's the best designer, who are the best stores to be in, what are the best publications. I'm going to try everything I can to fit into that and make it in that realm. And so I'm not listening really to what I want to create, or I'm in a job that I have to constantly adjust my creative vision to meet the goals and intentions of the company.
Totally.
And then there's this insane calendar of deadlines on top of it. There's no room for rest or downtime.
Right.
So you're in this constant cycle of produce, and it just sets you up for creative burnout. And you lose the joy that you have for the thing that you love. I mean, I love designing, but I hated that industry.
Yeah.
And so your creative energies are always going through a process of expansion and contraction, just like the universe. And when your energy body expands, you're going to feel open, excited, inspired. And you're receiving that inspiration, that new energy is coming in, and you might want to, start making things, or you have tons of ideas and you feel like you're in the flow. So that's expansion. And what has to happen is your system's going to contract, close up, and integrate that new inspiration that just came in. What that might look like is you feel tired, or your inner critic gets really loud. Maybe some self-doubt arises. You need to rest. Really, a contraction phase is a way for you to connect with your needs. What do you need in that moment to rest, recalibrate, and get ready for the next expansion? And so what we've been taught is to push through the contraction phase and just keep going, keep going, keep going. And we miss out on so much, because so much happens in that contraction where you learn about yourself, you learn about your needs, and that's going to inform your work.
Right.
So that's a way to get on your own creative calendar, your own schedule, is just to follow that expansion and contraction in your own system. And so I really like teaching that. I created a journaling tool called Tracking Your Creative Waves, so you can get into intimate contact with this process and really make conscious decisions that where you can benefit from your own creative process.
This is resonating so much.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh, we've been talking about this so much recently.
Yeah, just even the words, the way you put it too, the expansion and contraction, that literally came through the mushroom journey 2 weeks ago that I did, where, yeah, it was like there was a whole chunk in there, and time is like nothing in these journeys. Like I have no idea how long it really was, but they were just really talking about expansion and contraction and how that is literally what propels the entire universe. And I've never heard it worded in the way you just did in terms of the creative process. And I'm just even looking at myself this week, where last night I was facing kind of what felt like a mountain of work, and really wanting to launch a podcast episode this morning. And it was, close to 10 p.m. that night, still hadn't started editing yet, and knowing that, oh crap, I have to edit this, and then I have to pump out some social posts and all these things. I got really irritable and I snapped at Adam, and I was just like really like super pissy,
Yeah.
And I was reflecting afterwards, because I was like, I haven't felt that in a while. It's been quite like I've been in a big, I think we all have it over the last couple of months, in a more contractive phase as winter has kind of like finished off. And what you said about the contraction time is all about really like honoring your needs and like learning what your needs are. That, I don't know, that like hit me like this huge lightning bolt. I don't think I've ever really thought about it in that way, because I had always just been thinking about contraction as, okay, it's the time to get quiet. It's the time to, yes, rest, but it's the time to not be as in my yang or in my masculine, but it's a time of falling into more of my feminine, and into that more dark and liminal space of like potentiality and creativity. But I never thought about it as like the time of listening into what my needs are. And that, I don't know, that just really struck me. That's like a game changer for me, for sure.
Yeah, if you consider that part of you that got really irritable, what did she need?
Rest.
What was she? Yeah, she was trying to tell you, like, don't push through this. It's time to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the warrior submitting to the Buddha, Elle.
I know. We just got this human design reading with a woman named Yvonne Chung, who's just amazing. And yeah, she was teaching us our different energetics and how to work with each other. And she used that phrase, the warrior submitting to the Buddha.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm like, it's like one of my biggest hurdles, and challenges. And God, I just feel like because I come from the creative background too, everything that you just said about like being in a box and having to fit to a certain mold in these industries, and like people pleasing, it
Yeah.
absolutely fed my people pleasing tendencies
Mm.
until I couldn't deliver anymore. And then it was like a shame spiral, you
Mm,
know? And just even what you shared about, I think it's like so much of my need for external validation and distrust of my own body, my own intuition, there was a huge point after we left our careers in like digital products and advertising where I had to really consciously work on reconnecting to my intuition, because
mm,
for years I was told what was good and what was bad, or like what work was, good enough and passable and award winning, and what work sucked,
yeah,
and it really does a number on you where you really do just stop trusting yourself. Like, I don't even know what looks good to me anymore, because I have to have a client tell me what looks good to them, and then that gets validated.
right.
It's so damaging.
Yeah, I can even, like, as you talk about it, I can feel in my solar plexus this like a void. There's an
Hmm.
emptiness that happens when we feel that we're not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a, and I'm not saying that's in you. I'm saying I can feel my own
Hmm. Hmm.
um, energetic void when I think back to those times of, oh, I was trying so hard to
Yeah. Yeah.
to be to meet everyone else's desires.
Right. It is that
And
unworthiness. And that, for me, that unworthiness continues to show up in different ways, um, as I feel like I'm working towards like liberation and sovereignty, but this idea of like creative sovereignty, I haven't ever really thought of or
mm,
thought about until this conversation, you know? Um, yeah, it's so interesting. It's like, and I think this is something that it's not just relegated to artists and creatives. It's really everyone, right?
yeah,
Everyone is creative, and everyone, one of the biggest hangups I have about this industry too, these like creative industries, is the term creative. Like, it makes everybody else feel like they don't have the right to be quote unquote creative because they're
Oh my
not a
gosh.
quote unquote creative,
I literally, as you said that in the back of my head, because I was an account director at an ad agency. So I was on the boring business side of things. And I remember they used to say that to us all the time. And even as you just said it again, Al, I like all this conditioning in the back of my head bubbled up. And it was like, oh, I fucking hate it when everybody tells me like everybody's creative. And I was like,
mm,
then we would all be creatives. But you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. We are all creative beings. It's really why we're here. And so whether you're an artist or a tax accountant, you getting in touch with your own creative authority
Hmm.
is is going to give you such a sense of freedom and agency. And this often goes back to childhood during our during the individuation phase. So age 2, 3, when we're really finding our no,
Hmm. Hmm.
and we're individuating from our mother and father, and we're embodying, we're starting to feel our body in space,
Hmm.
and and being able to say no or yes and make choices, have agency. If um, if that was not healthy or not, not encouraged,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see that continue in adulthood.
Yeah, I'm like raising my hand right now.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, it's the obedience thing, especially in my family. It's, you got to listen to me. I'm the adult and I know best. And yeah, obedience and discipline. And that's something that I've really had to work through in my adulthood. And it's wild that it really does show up in everywhere. It's like in your work as well, the kind of creative bravery you have in your work and all
mm.
of that. It's so prevalent. Um, yeah, I do you work a lot with the inner child when you are working with your clients?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love inner child work. And since I've been since the pandemic, I've been working only online.
Mm-hmm.
I've been the energy work has evolved more into that. So, the I'll give you just like a brief example of how some sessions go.
Mm-hmm.
It's counseling work, and so the client is unpacking, sharing experiences, how their week was, and as they're sharing with me, I'm sensing into the energy of their words.
Mm.
Mm.
And then there usually will be an opening, a moment where the conversation, where it's appropriate for me to reflect. So then I reflect to them what I'm hearing. And where there is, I usually reflect the pieces that have the most emotional charge to them.
Mm.
And so when that lands in their system, it's an opportunity to now go into the body. So then I'll guide the client into their energy system and into their body. So um, some questions I'll ask is like, where do you feel that in your body? So it's somatic work,
Mm.
Mm.
and the way that I learned it is they called it the art of inquiry. So I'm essentially saying yes to whatever arises,
Mm.
and as the client closes their eyes and goes into their body, we explore the energy of it. Is there a color, a texture, a temperature, an emotion? Usually, once we get to the emotion, I like to shift it to inner child work because I really feel that these these trapped emotions are our inner child trying to communicate with us.
Mm.
Mm.
100%. Yeah.
So I'll ask, um, can you feel an age? Like, do you feel like an adult when you connect with this emotion? If the answer is no, then I'll ask, how old do you feel? Usually, a specific age or memory will arise,
Mm.
and then we'll explore the memory, and and then I like to really start a dialogue. So I'll facilitate the client's adult self to start a dialogue with their inner child.
Mm.
And we ask questions like, what do you need from me? How can I help you? So the inner child can really voice their needs. And that's a really important part of my work is this very exercise, which is I connect to the emotions of my inner child. I start a dialogue with her. I ask her important questions like, how are you feeling? What do you need right now? How can I
Mm.
help you? And then the client must fulfill that need. It's a really important, that's how it integrates is, and how the inner child starts to trust us again. It
Mm.
sees that uh, we're going to show up and really give it what it needs.
Mm. God, it's so powerful.
Yeah, I am so fascinated by this process because it really can go anywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I love about it so much. It's like there's so much to explore, even in the heavier healing work, you know? There's so much possibility.
Yes, our inner child really holds our creativity as well,
Yeah.
and our capacity for joy and play. So it's not always trauma.
Right.
A lot of the time the inner child is like, I want to laugh, I want to play, like it'll say like, let's go to my favorite place in the woods. And there's a lot of important information that the adult needs.
Yeah.
I work a lot with the inner child through breath work journeys and through the visualization at the end of the journeys. And yeah, I'm always blown away by some of the feedback and the shares afterwards. A lot of times it is just that play, and we haven't given ourselves the opportunity to really step into play in that very way, in that very unstructured and fully free sort of way to just do whatever we want and embrace that freedom. And yeah, that in itself is just so healing. Like, I always find it so profound that healing it really has multiple doorways, but joy is such a huge, it's a big door to enter into that healing through, rather than just the pain and the grief, the sadness, the anger, and all those more denser kind of frequencies.
Hmm. Yeah, what do you notice, like, as your clients connect with that through breath work? I'm just curious
Mm-hmm.
how that plays out in their life. Like when you hear them come back and do multiple sessions, what do you notice?
So I notice it's like they bring that consciousness back of very much like what you're describing. It's like naming their need,
Yeah.
naming the need. And it's as simple as that, where it's like sometimes they don't even realize what it is that they need, because so much other shit is sort of vying for their attention in their life, that they're like you were saying before, like disassociating from their bodies, not
Yeah.
paying attention to what they need in the moment. And I think we all, I mean, case in point, me last night, like not addressing my need, and so when they start to realize, like, oh my gosh, I had this one client who, I think it was really her first ever inner child journey through breath work. And what she identified was actually a trauma. She didn't realize that there was so much abandonment that she had felt from her mother,
Mm.
and completely had lost touch with that. And so that's what was coming up, that consciousness that, oh wow, there's abandonment here, And
Yeah.
so I find that sometimes even identifying what the wound is so buried that these journeys in connecting with the inner child also uncovers the specific wound that is causing whatever challenges they're experiencing in their adult life. Yeah, that actually happened with two clients. It was the second one wasn't even through breath work. It was really interesting. It was a friend who came, and I just, for whatever reason, and this was what I was explaining to you over the phone, I think, I just felt called to take her into her body. And it was sort of this intuitively led thing that I just experimented with, where we tapped into an old memory of hers and came face to face with her abandonment from her mother as well,
Mm.
And in both of these cases, one was through breath work and one was through what I just had called, for lack of a better word, somatic inquiry. It was both realizing, like, oh my gosh, I still hold this trauma that I didn't even know was there. I still hold this wound that I
Yeah.
didn't even realize was there.
Yeah, we call that frozen psychic time conglomerates.
Wow, that's a name.
Yeah, it's a fancy name for energetic block. But at the time that the trauma happened, so let's say at age 3, a trauma happens. It it gets
Imprints.
imprinted, right? So if a healthy energy system, the energy is moving and flowing, and then a trauma stops the energy and it gets frozen in time when it happens. And I think of a trauma as anything that your mind and body cannot process in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So the energy stops, it freezes, and it holds that experience in your system. And like attracts like. So that's why they call it conglomerate, because it's almost like a buildup of this same kind of experience happens over and over and over again. And
Oh, I see.
so
And
we
that's the
need,
patterning.
yeah, that's the
Mm-hmm.
pattern
Okay.
in the energy body. And so that's happening in the energy, and it does sometimes manifest in the physical body as disease and or chronic conditions. And so energy healing and hands-on work is an attempt to create safety so you can go into that frozen energy and thaw it. And sometimes you can just do it with hands-on work or breath work. There's so many different modalities that start to move the energy again. But the scary part is when it starts to move, you start to feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the memory comes up, and sometimes a lot of these traumas are pre-verbal or pre-memory. We don't have memory of it, but the body remembers. So you have all the terror
Right.
associated. You start to experience that, and that it takes time, and it's actually important to be patient and allow yourself to feel safe, because it really is with safety that this energy can move again.
That makes so much sense.
Have you ever, either of you actually, I'm super curious about this. Have you ever gone in to do inner child work and then found that the trauma was actually, that the trauma that's being carried is actually either belongs to someone else, like a generational trauma, or it's actually a past life trauma?
Yeah.
I haven't encountered past lives. I have encountered generational, though. Yeah. Go ahead, Maxine.
Yeah, in my own personal healing work when I was working with Victoria, I did have a couple experiences where, so once I started doing healing work, a lot of terror started to arise in my system and in my body. And when I started to explore that terror, I went back to other lifetimes where I was sharing healing work and was murdered for it. I had quite a few memories come up from past lives around that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so interesting. That's all of my past lives that have come up have been too. It was like, oh, you had these gifts and then you were killed for them.
Yeah,
And
I
then it
think
was like you carry it with you. It's so crazy.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Were you gonna
Oh, no, go ahead.
expand? I think that there is a connection between that, like sharing your psychic healing, creative, intuitive gifts and being persecuted for that, and having this incarnational trauma in your current life. So it's like, I'm not safe in a body.
Right.
It's this feeling like I'm not safe on earth. I'm not safe being here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. That just like turned on a big light for me. I was like, I've never heard it expressed exactly like that. And there was just a big aha moment for me. I'm like, oh,
Mm.
okay, I'm seeing this now.
I know this conversation is like packed with them for me.
I
I'm like,
know.
I think that's why it's so healing to have these conversations too, and to see energy healing from these different points of view or
Yeah.
perspectives, ways in. I am so fascinated by transpersonal energy healing and counseling, and I definitely feel like that is going to be my next area of study. Just based off of everything that you've shared, Maxine, it like calls to me.
So
Mm.
beautiful.
Yeah. I know this is like a hard left switch gear kind of thing, but I just wanted to get into it a little bit. Um, you had shared with me in our last phone call that we were talking about Bringers of the Dawn, the book. And what I'm finding really fascinating right now is that I think in this time that we're living in right now, there are so many people that are waking up to their kind of like star seed
Hmm.
identity, or their history and their soul lineage. And I would just love to kind of just talk a little bit about what you have experienced in terms of the guides that you work with when you are doing this work, especially that one that you do connect with that shows up as the blue light, and your experiences connecting with your star families, or even maybe just galactics in general. I feel like I just recently had an experience that, and I just heard of another friend recount her experience too. It's just so much of this is coming up so much now that I'm
Hmm.
like, and maybe it's just where I'm sitting too. Just these conversations are popping up. But even 2 weeks ago, I feel like I received an activation from a galactic family member when I was on my psilocybin journey. And I just experienced so much love flooding through. It's like it felt like unconditional love. And then just this deep desire and urge suddenly to send love out to the world. And I just found myself crying for the
Mm.
next 10 minutes as I was creating what felt like a fireball within me and just sending this love out, and focusing so hard on my heart as I'm sending this love out, and realizing after a while that I was saying things like, I'm sending this out to all the kids who don't feel this love around them. I'm sending it out to everyone who is lonely right now, who doesn't have that support network, and just crying and crying and crying and feeling that release. And realizing afterwards that I think what was happening was this like transmutation of all this dense energy around me
Mm.
through my tears and through this activation. But I would love to hear you recount even the story of, I know you actually, whatever you'd like to share, because
Sure.
the story that you shared with me in Hawaii was so fascinating too, that I'm just like, oh my God, my mind is blown. But yeah, anything that you feel called to share right now.
Yeah, it was a while ago. It's it's fun to think back at that time because that was like around 2014. I went to Kauai with my husband and we rented multiple little Airbnb spots, and the last one we were in was actually it was like a large screened in porch. We didn't have walls. It was in this massive garden, and the bugs were like so loud, and it rain, and it was just felt like I was in a a tropical paradise. But there wasn't much in the house. It was a bed and a small dresser. And I remember looking through the drawers in the dresser. I opened up the top drawer, The only thing inside the drawer was Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak. And
So crazy.
That's
it
so
felt,
cool.
yeah, it was a moment. I was like, what is this book? And I pick it up, and as I hold it in my hands, I actually feel an energy go into my body. It was like just holding the book was an activation.
Oof.
Wow.
Oof, I
Yeah.
just got full body chills.
I I read it very quickly. I think within a few days. And but the moment that I found it, I was holding it. I walked outside. I walked outside into the yard, and there were these really tall grasses. And I was staring into the grass, and I saw something start to emerge. They look like giant heads, and it was kind of looked like a hologram. So I could see through it, but there was also like a smoky kind of quality to it as well, which I think I was just perceiving the energy of these beings. So there's many of them, they start to emerge from the grass, and they look like giant bugs. And I thought to myself, oh, I'm surely going crazy now. I'm seeing, I'm seeing giant bugs here. And so I connect with their energy. It was really loving and very sweet and calming. But then I started to feel like a pull, like they wanted me to move towards them. And it made me a little scared. So I went back into the house and and honestly kind of brushed it off. I didn't I didn't know what to make of it, and I think because of some of the fear I was feeling, I wasn't receiving any intuitive hits about it. And I remember going home. And so this is how it would usually happen, where I'd have an experience that I didn't really fully understand or know what it meant, but then there would be this unfolding of information that would start to pop up, and I would go down that path. So I started to learn about other races of beings. And Bringers of the Dawn is a channeling of the Palladians from Barbara Marciniak. And so I started to learn about these different galactic families, and the bugs were actually a race of praying mantis. They're called the golden mantis beings.
So
Oh my gosh, it's so
amazing.
crazy. As you were telling this story, like what I was picturing in my head was like giant praying mantis.
Oh, you
That's
saw
so
them?
cool. That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because I did some research on it, and I did find there are other um, intuitives and psychics who work with these guides, and they're healers. It's a race of healing beings, and what
Oh,
they've
wow.
gotten me in touch with is healing through the heart.
Mm.
And that's another thread that has run through my healing journey, and makes sense because I had
Heart surgery.
heart surgery when
Yeah.
I was a baby.
Oh, wow.
And one of the very first things I did back in, I think, 2011 was I did this workshop called Awakening the Illuminated Heart. And it was designed by Drunvalo Melchizedek. I don't know if you're familiar with his work.
Mm-mm.
I haven't heard from him in a while, but he wrote really incredible books. The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life. He's really into sacred geometry. He worked with many indigenous cultures,
Oh,
and
wow.
he created this workshop where you actually go into your heart. You go into the sacred space of your heart. And he says that that's where we hold our reasons for coming to earth. And so that was my first experience with like working with my physical heart.
Wow.
Wow, that's so cool.
I'm definitely going to get your name or his name after like the spelling because
I know.
Yeah.
I
I
need
was
to
just
read his
thinking, like, wait a minute, I need to read this.
stuff. Wow.
I think you would also really love Serpent of Light is another book he wrote.
Serpent of Light.
And it's
Okay.
about the Kundalini energy of the earth.
Oof.
Oh my gosh. That is literally, I just went through so much womb healing and sexual trauma healing this past month. And just really connecting to, even yesterday, I was sitting in meditation, inviting that Kundalini energy to come through. But on the earth, it's a whole other thing that I have not studied at all. So it's called the Serpent of the Earth,
Serpent of Light.
the Serpent of Life,
Light.
of Light. Okay.
Yeah. It's really good.
Amazing.
So yeah, working with my heart expanded into doing many meditations where I'm going into my physical heart and listening to it as a guide. And it has, your own individual heart has its own sound. There's actually a sound that your heart makes, and you can hum it to yourself, and that will help you travel into your heart. And your heart will give you the most simple and loving and glorious answers to any question you have. And when you receive the answer, it's like this blanket of relaxation and calm that just comes over you. It's really equally like gentle and powerful.
Wow.
And then another book that I read that also talks about this, but in a different way, is Mary Magdalene Revealed.
Oh, that's so
Oh,
funny.
yes. I definitely feel like I'm part of her lineage. At least that's what I keep on getting called to all this womb healing and starting to really work with her. This is a channeled book too, right?
She, I don't think, okay, when I read it, I felt that it was half personal story
Okay.
and half, because she's a theologian.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm thinking of a different book. Okay. Mary Magdalene Revealed.
Yeah,
Okay,
by
I'm totally picking that up.
It's Megan Watterson. I believe it's her last name, Waterton. Um, and she studied the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and which has pages that have been ripped out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary Magdalene asks Jesus the most incredible, important questions, and the answers to the questions are ripped out of the
Wow.
gospel.
Wow.
But she really was the one who, she knew that the heart was a direct channel to divine energy.
Wow.
And in her gospel, she talks about that, and she asks Jesus questions about this. And, unfortunately, we don't have, because she actually asks him how to do it.
Oh
And
my God.
What?
but the answer is ripped out. So after I read that book, I was like, okay, it was a wonderful reminder of the power of the heart and its connection to the universe, and that this is like a walkie-talkie.
Mm, I
And
love that.
I think these mantis beings are also here to help facilitate that.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. I have no doubt. And I'm curious if they are who you work with in your work? Is that the being that shows up as the blue light for you?
Yeah, I'm still very curious about how to really identify and separate these things. I don't have a full grasp on it. Like, oh,
Yeah.
this is the being that's talking to me right now and I know this because I know the frequency and it feels this way and it looks this way. And I, so one of the things that I started to feel like I had an understanding of, like, once the, sorry, I'm not articulating this well. Um, Once I started to see other realms, like not only in my mind's eye, but with my eyes open. I'm looking out into my room and I can see, sometimes I'll see like a kind of looks like gelatinous. Like there'll be this blob in my space and it'll start to undulate and then it'll start to open up and light will start to pour out of it. And I just have this feeling like everything's right here with us here on Earth. And we really are in the Garden of Eden. This is a truly incredible, magical planet. And all the dimensions are right in front of us all the time. We just don't see them. And these different beings and different energies are possibly all also aspects of ourselves.
Ooh, wow.
They're not separate from us. And I don't know how our own mind is going to try to, categorize and identify. And that's helpful. Some structure is helpful, but I sometimes have a hard time really like differentiating, like this is the being I'm working with right now. I do hear and feel so many different things that I'm not fully clear on.
Yeah. I think that's just part of, whenever I get something like that where it's like I'm not totally clear, but I'm being led, I always find that it's like a coming home back to this journey of learning to how to trust myself again and my intuition again and just allowing myself to be led, which is so powerful. But sometimes I feel like the information is specifically withheld because I need that reaffirmed in that moment,
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like if you don't know, you have to have that trust, right? You have to have that surrender. Oh man, I can go for freaking hours. Like this stuff is so fascinating. Like I mean, I feel like such a little infant when it comes to all of this stuff, like energy and galactic beings and everything. It's just, but yeah, truly, I think you said this earlier, Maxine, like this is the adventure. This is where it gets fun, and I don't know. I'm really grateful that there's just so much to uncover, so much to learn, so much to be astounded by and be just in wonder about. And I just cannot thank you enough for this conversation and for your presence here today. Like
it's really beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. And I just love what you're doing and what you feel called to be, like who you feel called to be working with. And I think just feeling incredibly, incredibly grateful.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel like this is part of it is, oh, funny. I can't find words for what I want to say.
I've been having that problem a lot lately.
I really felt, really felt you when you said all of that. So thank you. I guess I just want to say thank you.
You're so welcome. Yeah, it truly is. It's like I find myself saying that over and over every day now. Like I don't have words. And it makes me wonder if this is a byproduct of us truly dropping into our bodies more and feeling so much more and not really being able to have our logical, rational brains put words to it, you know?
Yeah.
Which is a good sign. It's a good sign.
When you know you're in it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that's a beautiful way to end. Thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Music for Woo Nu is composed by Adam Miller.